Well, just because Sally Kellerman's character in That's Life is going a mile a minute, and because her career is going a mile a minute, don't think that Sally Kellerman is going a mile a minute. When I met you today, you were so soft-spoken, so mild. I was astounded. What is the real Sally Kellerman? Where is she?
Driven, I know.
I was surprised. It's a contrast.
Oh, gosh, well, I was delighted you were surprised, quite frankly, because I always think I have no secrets and everybody knows who I am, and it's like, oh my God, here she comes again. You know. But
well, you go a mile a minute so well that I suppose people tend to expect that from you all the time.
I suppose I can go a mile a minute, you know, and I suppose I am a comedian in my soul, you know. I mean, and I can leap about with the best of them, but I'm also a miserable sinner, you know. I mean,
yeah, where is the angst here? Where is the side of Sally Kellerman that labors and wonders about the roles and about the world's problems? Is there that part of you as well?
My analysts know, you know. I try to say if I keep this cheery face for the outside world. No, I got all that stuff. I'm human, you know. This is one of the things that a lot of the roles I've played have not always been so visible, but I think in That's Life, the fact that Holly, although she goes a mile a minute, turns out to be rather sensitive and more aware than we think is a...
And have you noticed nobody is surprised when Holly settles down and becomes the shoulder that Julie Andrews needs and the understanding eye that she needs? We knew that somehow.
Did you? Did you feel that when you saw it?
So.
Oh, I'm glad.
So I'm wondering if that character then can become a bit of a Sally Kellerman then too. One part is a mile a minute, but the other?
I think so. I think that's probably true. I mean, there are times that, you know, I get away from myself, you know, I mean, particularly if I'm having, you know, if I'm really feeling good and, you know, and happy, I have to kind of keep a check on it. I mean, there were certainly elements in Holly that have been in my personality, and I think that, you know, I've worked to find a more peaceful way to,
yeah, and I guess it's
less
an
imposing
understatement.
way.
I guess it's an understatement that you wanted this role and you're heartily glad you got it, huh?
Yes, absolutely. My husband executive produced the film, you know, and so I was very happy to be in it. It's something that my husband, Jonathan Crane, has been feeling that, you know, this is the way to go for a long time, to make an independent film, you know, a smaller budget and with real quality talent. And he's works with Blake. He executive produces Blake's films, and so Jonathan's had this idea, and when Blake said yes, he would like to do a film like this. So,
because I'd like to draw the contrast, if we could, a little bit about a role or two that you've had that you weren't happy about, even going into it, and a role like this that you are happy about, especially coming out of it. Could you help us draw that contrast in every actor's life?
Well, I have not always had the luxury of just picking the roles I wanted to do, and I've made a lot of my own lack of choices. You know, I mean, I disappear in the middle of a film career and, you know, go on the road with the band or whatever the things that I've done in my life.
So you still continue singing?
So I paid dues for that, and I still sing, yeah. But, you know, for not being as intelligent or as aware or having my feet in reality, I've paid dues for that. I also gained things from, you know, I mean, you know, it's a check and balance thing, but in terms of a career, in terms of really building one, I have built it backwards, upside down, and sideways. So there have been periods where I've had to take roles that I wouldn't necessarily have wanted to, hoping the film will be successful. Well, I'll take this, it's a studio film, maybe it'll go, and even though the part stinks, maybe I can make something of it. So I've certainly had that.
That's a temptation, sure.
Yeah, so this is when you see some of those films and you wonder what on earth I'm doing there or something. That's one of those times, you know, where you're trying, like, desperately to make a choice that maybe will work and then doesn't.
Well, let's take Back to School. Did that become a surprise for you, or did you know that was a gem?
Well, Back to School, I knew it was a marvelous script. I mean, I did like the script very much. I knew that Rodney, well, I didn't know anything about Rodney until I met him, and on the first meeting, he kind of looked at me like, oh, and I kind of looked at him like, oh my God. And then we came back at the second meeting, he says, did you change your hair? And I go, no, did you change yours? And we liked each other, and it was a romance, and I loved the director, Alan Metter, and it was such a lovely, relaxed, easy experience, and a different kind of role for me in playing a leading woman, which is why I wanted very much to do it. Yeah, a leading woman with brains, yes. And I wasn't, I was shocked when I saw the film, and that Rodney was the great leaping about, you know, he was the old Sally Kellerman, you know, leaping about being silly and crazy, and I was like standing there going, ha, ha. Yes, let me put on another outfit, you know, and brush my hair.
Let's recite some more Dylan Thomas.
Yes, oh, some Ulysses, yeah. And so, so when I saw it, though, I was really confused. I went, oh my God, what did I do? I didn't do nothing. You know, I just stood there and smiled and enjoyed Rodney, and so there I was as the leading woman. It was an interesting phenomenon when I'm so used to doing so much, you know. And but it's so thrilling that it's been such a big hit and such a good film.
I know that That's Life. One of the things that you like about it a lot is that it shows there are problems even among those whom we think don't have any problems. Could you explain that a little bit?
The super rich.
Yes.
He hates these tents in the movie, you know.
There's a tent in this movie, for heaven's sake.
There's a tent on the beach in the movie from the rich. I mean, I really have great empathy for people who grow up rich, for people, I know that sounds crazy, but, or people
well, you didn't
who
grow
have,
up rich.
I didn't grow up
No.
rich, no. God, I don't know that I'm rich now, but I'm on my way. A couple of more hit films, guys, rush to your theater and I could be rich. But in this movie, the people, the characters in it, Jack Lemmon, Julie Andrews, have a lot of dough and a lot of personal struggle and a lot of things to deal with. Jack, 60 years old, having a mild breakdown of sorts, and Julie struggling with her her things. I mean, I know rich people, you know, I know people, they're just like poor people, except they have more comfortable digs, and it's almost more difficult in a way, because if you're living in a shack beside of a road, you can say, I could be such a great human being, I could have such a happy life if I wasn't in a shack by a tent. But when you got everything, and you don't feel good, what do? You can't say, if I only had a house, if I only had this, you say, I got everything I ever wanted in my life, and why am I not happy? And it is the common denominator and the thread that makes us all human and all part of it. So I have tremendous empathy for that, and I guess I've been around the rich and the poor. I certainly think living in a beautiful home and things is a luckier thing than living beside the road, and it does make your life better, but it doesn't make your life better if you haven't resolved a lot of the things that go on, the conflicts. And
Well said, by golly.
Oh,
I'm convinced.
John, you're convinced.
I am.
He likes those
Yes.
tents now.
And what I'm going to do with the time we have left is ask you to put yourself into the main role now. You are a woman architect facing a crisis in her life. Would it be a midlife crisis? What would be a crisis for you? What would be the one that would boggle your mind the way Lemon's was?
I think my problems are like Lemon's in the sense of being ambitious and thinking that the outside is going to make me happier, that if you accomplish this or if you do that, and then discovering that, no, that doesn't, a man or a job
So it
or a
wouldn't
car
be
or a
age.
house. So maybe it'll be age when I'm older.
When you're 30?
I hope not when I'm 30, when I reach 32. But
It's just, it seems like men have
But I mean, what I'm saying is
exclusivity on the midlife crisis. Where are the films about
oh
women
my
having
God.
a midlife
Well,
crisis?
let's hope I'll be making one, because
Would you like to?
sure.
Would that be a good
yes,
role for you?
I would, yeah. I mean, the fact is that I'm sure, and with Jane Fonda out there in the field, I'm sure we'll be having one sooner than we think, unless I beat her to the punch. But women have midlife crises. Women have all kinds of hormonal midlife crises and age, and wondering if you still have value if you get the first wrinkle, you know. I mean, no, we have all kinds of things we deal with, and rich or poor. And so, I don't know.
Thank you
Guess that
very
would be
much.
my
We're out of time.
crisis.
Remind
so.
everybody we're coming to you from beautiful downtown, tropical, sunny Toronto.
Talking about That's Life.
Isn't it gorgeous? Talking about That's Life with a woman who's gorgeous, Sally Kellerman. I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV5 from Toronto.